Hungary recently celebrated the 20th anniversary of the so-called Pan-European picnic, when hundreds of East Germans pushed through Hungarian border guards and fled into Austria during a protest against the Iron Curtain in August 1989. The event sparked a mass exodus of East Germans to Hungary, who crowded into Budapest, overwhelming the West German embassy in their bid to get to the West. Hungarian priest Imre Kozma ran a charity service in the city and was asked to help feed and shelter the East Germans.
We were asking hotels, restaurants, and boarding houses for help, and every day we were receiving enough food for the entire crowd of people. Restaurants and hotels were bringing as much food as they could without even asking if they would be paid or whether they would get something for it or not.
Kozma says as the crisis grew, Hungarian authorities did not interfere and eventually opened the border for the first time since 1948. The event helped bring a quick and peaceful end to a half-century of communist rule. Heavy traffic in Budapest attests to the growing prosperity of many Hungarians. But Reverend Kozma says material concerns have squeezed out some of the civic values that motivated those who helped East German refugees in 1989.
People in Hungary are constantly being reminded that they need to take care of financial issues. As a result, the interests of the community are shoved aside.
Post-communist societies have exposed vast differences between haves and have-nots. In the Polish city of Gdańsk, Mayor Paweł Adamowicz says government alone cannot address the social problems of any country.
Communism destroyed the hearts and minds of Poles.
I właśnie chcemy tą solidarność międzyludzką odbudować.
We want to rebuild the solidarity between people, social bonds, ability to support one another, and willingness to volunteer.
Postawy wolontariuszy, ochotników.
Civic values were the topic of a recent international seminar in Budapest. Among those participating was John Shaddock, former U.S. ambassador to the Czech Republic. Shaddock says volunteerism in communist countries was viewed as a form of collaboration with unpopular regimes. He says that genuine civic spirit is something that cannot be imposed.
If it's done voluntarily, and it is something that comes from inside of a person who wants to make a change in his or her own life, then it does have a spiritual aspect of it. But it's not something that can be imposed. It is not an organizational principle and a set of funds that can come in from the outside.
Shaddock notes such funds can help groups seeking to foster civic spirit in countries of the former Eastern Bloc, but ultimately, it is up to individuals to devote the time and energy needed to restore the community values damaged by communism. Peter Fedynsky, VOA News, Budapest.